So I wanted to make this video for all those people who seem to be suffering with Erlang, and I was suffering with Erlang for a very long time. Took me hours to beat him, hundreds of attempts, until I found this particular technique off of INVenus channel. I'll have a link to his particular video down below. One of the things that I like about this particular method of defeating Erlang is the fact that it is so easy to defeat Erlang using this method that you don't have to be good. You don't have to be like a god at the game in order to actually beat Erlang using this method. And I alter it a little bit from what is shown in INVenus, but this is more or less to get the method out there in as many places as possible so that people who are suffering with this, like I was suffering with this, that they can actually go through and finally get this guy. And you'll see, I am not good at this fight. I just am not. This guy, he moves around. My biggest problem that I think I find is that there is so much, so many times that my controller just doesn't seem to record the inputs, like it doesn't register the inputs that I put in. Sometimes they catch me in dodges that I don't think that they should be catching me on. This particular boss is more or less annoying than hard, and that's why I love this particular method, because it helps to address all of the annoying aspects of this fight so that you can just focus on the fun of the fighting method that Wukong has built up into this point. But without further ado, let's get moving. Now, this video is taken from my NG Plus character, but I promise you that doesn't matter. The most important thing is your equipment here, the golden embroidered set, which will recover ki for as many critical attacks that you get on a character. So if you're using the numbers, it's whatever those yellow numbers are that'll appear on your screen. And the important thing here is that it is only going to increase on critical hits. So whatever you can do to increase your critical percent, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to increase that as much as you can without sacrificing too much in your build. You want to be able to build up this ki very, very quickly so that you can get off your more crucial attacks for this particular method. The important spirit for this method is the Apramana bat, in which it will transform you into a bat and freeze the character underneath you. Now with Erlang, it will freeze him twice, but he will only stay frozen if his shield has already been down. So that's the only time you can get him to stay frozen, is when his shield is down. But throughout the fight, you can freeze him completely twice, so that you basically have a couple of free immobilize, because we know that immobilize doesn't work very well when his shield is up either. This gives you a few extra chances to get in some of those critical attacks that will help you build up your ki again. You want to have the plantain fan, because that's going to help you get rid of his shield, so that you can actually attack him. And I have this because this is once again New Game Plus, and this gives you a 25% critical hit chance. You don't need it. Believe me, I used this on my first run through, the same method on my first run through, and I managed to beat him without much trouble. Curios, doesn't necessarily matter which curios you use. I recommend anything that increases your defense. This one increases shock resistance. You can get all of these before you fight Erlang. I use a Supreme Gourd, which you get in Chapter 5. And for the drinks, we want to use Sunset of the 9 Drinks, which will build up ki whenever you drink it. So you'll have 10 chances. That's like 2 times of using the ki or whatever ki attacks you have. As for your points, your sparks, it doesn't really matter. I recommend, if you're doing this on New Game Plus, then that's fine. You know, you probably have more sparks than you really need. But I recommend just kind of filling it out close enough to what I have here. Here, inside this particular one, this is more important, the cooldown of all alteration spells and the 4 Bane's resistance. But they're not important because you don't necessarily use them. As far as your foundation, I would say that I recommend 4 Bane's resistance because he has the lightning. You want the critical hit chance because once again, your key is going to be building up with critical hit, and critical damage doesn't hurt anything. So 4 Banes reduces the 4 Bane effect and increase your resistance to the Banes. Those are really the most important ones. You do want this spinning one because that's going to be how you build up those critical hits really quickly, because you'll get a lot more critical hits doing it that way. And without further ado, let's begin. Once again, this is New Game Plus. I know I've said it 3 times, but this is a method that will work on the regular New Game. If you're having trouble in the original New Game, this is the method I used to beat him in 1 try in the New Game. So I tried like hundreds of times. I used this method, and I beat him first try while using this method inside the New Game. So it doesn't really matter what level you are or how good you are. This is going to work. First thing you want to do when you get a chance is get that plantain fan off so that you see how his shield is going down like rapidly. Now the plantain fan unfortunately doesn't keep him stun locked, and a lot of times he'll find ways out of it. But it does remove that shield, which gives you the opportunity. And as you can see, I missed my Upper Mana Bat there. So normally he would be frozen and I'd be building back up my key. But here I got him with the immobilize and was able to really build up my key again. See how fast that built up? See how fast that, like, I can now use the fan again because it built up that fast. But as I was saying, it's like with this method, you see how it just drains his shield, so you can actually get the immobilize, you can get your spells, you can get so many of your attacks off. And with the Upper Mana Bat, that deals pretty heavy damage, and it'll freeze him if it lands while that shield is off. So the Plantain Fan and the Upper Mana Bat are your 2 best friends for this fight. Now, as you can see, not everything works out the way you want to. I'm not good at this fight. Look, I got damaged there. Pull out the Upper Mana Bat. It just damaged him. It didn't freeze him, and that's because, once again, he has that shield up. Thing is that when it's this particular method, you don't even have to worry about missing. You don't have to worry about not getting all of your heavy attacks in. All you have to do is try and stay out of the way of his more damaging attacks. It doesn't necessarily matter, but it is something that you don't want to just be tanking every single hit. Like, try and dodge where you can and whatnot, and then let everything else go where it lies. When you get hit, heal up. That fills up your key as well because you have the Sunset of the 9 Dreams. And so here we see I can do another Plantain Fan, and this will annihilate his shield yet again. The whole point of this build is getting that shield off of him as fast as possible. Everything else, the boss is an okay boss. It's that shield that just absolutely makes him one of the most annoying bosses in the game. When he transitions over to his phases, like, really not too much danger here. Here the laser beams will do a lot of damage if they hit you, but as long as you're just kind of dodging around, they're not going to hit you. Now, I've seen a lot of people do the spinning staff in order to avoid this. I don't do that. I just run, and if you run around in a circle, he won't get you. Like I said, here, you see how he got the immobilize, and he tried to turn it back on me. And there, I had him completely frozen, but he was able to break out instantly. That's what happens when you have the shield. So, but because we have, once again, this method, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he breaks out. It doesn't matter if he misses or if he gets out of the immobilize. The whole point is just to get him in a position where you can take out that shield as quickly as possible, which is done using the fan. Now, once again, the best way to build up your key so that you can use that fan is with the twirling baton towards Erlang, but If you can't twirl the baton at him, just try and hit him, and eventually your critical hits will add up and you can use the fan again. But as well, because you have Sunset of the Nine Drinks, if you really need to, use that in order to build up your ki again. As you see, built up to 4 focus points here. Sat there, froze him, and with the Upper Mana Bat, now I have the ability to just really hit him hard because his shield is down. Puts it back up. One of the things that many people don't realize is that he does take damage even when his shield is up. It's just less. So it doesn't really matter that his shield is up, I'm still going to get him here anyway. And all with this method, and you can see I'm not the best. I'm not super good at this game. I'm not able to dodge everything that he pulls out. And when I was trying to fight this guy without this method, I died so many times, hours worth of attempts. But one time using this method, I beat him. And as you can see here, this is my first time fighting him in New Game Plus. So he has more health, he hits harder, and is, in general, a little bit more annoying to try and stagger or get his shield down. But it doesn't matter. I still got him first try using this method. It all revolves around getting as much ki as possible, using that plantain fan to get down his shield. Everything else is just kind of like a normal boss fight. It's just that shield. That shield has to go. And so the plantain fan does that. I certainly hope that this helps out anyone who is struggling with this boss. Once again, I will have a link to the original video that helped me out before I was actually able to defeat him. But I certainly hope that this was instructive. If you like, please like it. Leave a subscribe if you'd like to see more stuff like this in the future. And I'll see you next time.